All right, what's up, y'all? MKBHD here, back with one of, I think, maybe the most surprising slash impressive electric vehicles I've tested so far. Maybe because I didn't have my eye on it, but it's turned out to be a lot more than I thought. This is also the first video shot on the iPhone 16 Pro, so some of you will be here to see this footage. Some of you will be here to see this vehicle. This is the Chevy Silverado EV. So it's their full-size pickup truck. So there's only a few full-size electric pickup trucks out right now, right? There's obviously the Tesla Cybertruck, there's the Ford F-150 Lightning, there's the Rivian R1T, and then there's the Hummer EV. That's all I really count, because that's all you can get in the US. And every time I would talk about them, this would always get comments, like people going like, don't forget about the Silverado. It's got 450 miles of range, don't forget about the Silverado EV. But it wasn't shipping yet, so I wasn't ready to include it yet. But now that it's out, and now that we actually got one here, bro, yeah, this should be right on top of the list for a lot of people. And I'm gonna start by just talking about the things that I like about it. And the number one thing I like about it is the range. So this is the RST, this is the top of the line, this is the $100,000 truck, and it is a full-size truck, like I said, so it is absolutely massive. You can see it sitting on, I wanna say, yeah, 24-inch wheels. So these are big wheels, and it's still, like, looks like a regular size wheel on this thing. 6-foot bed, massive, but all the space down here is for a 205 kilowatt hour battery. Just for a little context, typical EV has somewhere between like a 70 to 110 kilowatt hour battery. The Rivian R1T has a 130-ish kilowatt hour battery. 205. And so it's rated for 440 miles of range. And that's already impressive, but here's the even crazier part. It kind of adjusts based on how you drive it. And if you're not towing anything, you're just cruising around and using Regen, which, let's face it, a lot of people will. It'll show even more. When I first got this plugged up to 100%, it was showing me 475 miles of range. That actually makes it the most range I have ever tested on any electric vehicle ever. I haven't tested, I think there's some Lucids that cross over the 500 mark. I haven't actually gotten to drive those yet, but who would have thought it would be a full-size truck that gets us there? Now, that's maybe not shocking because of the 205 kilowatt hour battery down there, but the Hummer EV also has a 200 plus kilowatt hour battery, but it's a Hummer. It's like a refrigerator on wheels. It doesn't have the aero. This does have the aero. So yeah, that's gonna be the number one thing I like about it, is that on these street tires with no payload, you know, this front grille is half covered. It's got a pretty aerodynamic front shape. These back triangles are aerodynamic. And obviously there's nothing being towed right now, but even right now it's showing like 93% battery is 434 miles. It's pretty good. So that's great for trucks. I mean, that's gonna relieve range anxiety. Once you do start towing and using the truck bed, it's got a 1,500 pound payload, and I think a 10,000 pound towing capacity, 10 or 15. I'll put the text on the screen, but then you're gonna start eating into the battery. Obviously, it's very important to have a lot of available range so that you can eat into that when you do work with this truck. But if you're just driving around cruising, yeah, that's pretty sick. Now, the next thing I really liked is storage. Now, it is a full-size truck, so this isn't a surprise for anyone familiar with full-size trucks. But every time I get in one, I'm just a little bit blown away by how much there is. So let me just shut that up for a second. Actually, one more quick tidbit. This EV doesn't have an ignition button or a switch anywhere. You just put on the brake and start. And I love that. That's actually pretty rare. It's basically, it feels like it's just Tesla's, and every other EV seems to have like a power button right here to turn it on or turn it off. This one doesn't have that. You just put on the brake and go. When you're done, you just get out and walk away and it turns off. I like that a lot. So shout out to Chevy for that. But yeah, okay, you get in and there is storage everywhere. There's a whole bunch of these water bottle holders, cup holders, bunch of cup holders here, phone spot. Obviously I have my mic here, wireless charger. There's ports in here. There's another port in here. We'll talk about that adapter in a second, but a little more storage up top here, and then a real glove box for even more storage. There's a lot, but then it's not just front seat where you get storage. It's the back seats and even behind the driver too. So this is a 6'3" driving position, and immediately you can tell, oh yeah, there is a ton of legroom up here. I mean, I'm lounging back basically. Also, I can really fully show the 251 lows now, so you guys have been seeing them in these videos, but now you can see them for real. But yeah, tons of storage here. You've got the same door situation, little pocket there, cup holders, more storage down here. But then we are in the back seat where you can fully move. I mean, you've seen these Silverado or pickup trucks before probably, but seat folds up right there. Store some stuff on top of the speaker. I can even stand up and pull this other one and show you've got charging equipment underneath the seats. So this is a whole section. Can I go ultra wide? No, I can't go to ultra wide while I'm on the primary camera. But that is a whole bunch more storage in the back seat. I mean, this is an enormous, enormous cabin, but we're not done. We got to get even further back because it's a full-size pickup truck after all. And that's a 6-foot bed. Now, like I said, this here, a little bit of aero, but you can still reach in. There's a powered tonneau cover. And then this full 6-foot bed, which you can store a ton of stuff in. And if you're familiar with the Silverado, you know about the midgate, which will allow you to store even larger items. I'm also kind of a fan of this little half open setup. So if you want to open just that top half of the tailgate and reach in and grab something real quick, that's cool too. Or open the entire thing with that button. And if you want to store the absolute most, you can open the midgate and put this bottom section up, and that'll store about 10 feet of stuff. And yeah, there's outlets. There's all the utility in the world. I don't have to tell you this. It's a pickup truck. It does work stuff. It's great. So storage galore. That's the second thing I was immediately very happy with. Third is how they achieve the range with the one-pedal driving and the Regen. So the Silverado EV has some peak EV stuff going on here, right? So first of all, like I said, no power button needed. Get in, have the key in your pocket, foot on the brake, truck is on. That's great, right? Second of all, as you're driving, there is pretty strong lift-off Regen and in regular mode. So there's these drive modes here, normal mode. You're driving, you lift your foot off the brake, and it's some pretty strong Regen to be basically one-pedal driving. But even if you don't do that, there's also this little pedal behind the wheel. A lot of GMs have this now, where if you squeeze this, this will add Regen and slow you down faster. And it's actually a bit of a two-stage button, where if I squeeze even harder, it will add more Regen and actually completely avoid using the brake pedals at all. Like, you can stop really quickly with just this pedal. So if you drive with your hand on the wheel just like that, you basically don't have to use the brake pedal at all. That's awesome. That's peak EV. Another thing that's great about an EV, and this could have been in the storage section, is a powered front trunk. You do have to hold that down to open it, but of course you can see that in front of us here. And let me just check out, let's see how much storage is in the front trunk, because I think they kind of know what people are going to be doing with this, which is tailgating, but in the front. What's that called? Front gating? I don't know, but you can clearly sit here if you want. You can put this net down, but I think a lot of people will, put some groceries in here, do some casual shopping, and that's a good amount of storage space. But also, like, there's cup holders. They know what's going on. There's drain plugs. They know what's going on. So this is a pretty convenient peak EV feature as well. Good to see a powered front trunk. My only downside is I couldn't find a way to close it from outside, so I have to go back in and close it. But that's just one more thing it's got going for it. And then number 3 for peak EV is the Silverado EV can charge at Tesla superchargers. So this is a deal that they just struck, but this 450 mile range EV with all this great Regen can also use this adapter right here and charge at something like 15 or 17,000 Tesla superchargers. You've got your account, you can log in, and it's essentially plug and play with this adapter like we've seen with Rivian and others. So even more peak EV. And then just besides all that, it is like well trimmed and well equipped too. Like, you see this huge sunroof over my head. You see all this RST and nice red and blue contrast stitching. This is a little bit sloppy looking stitching if you ask me, but it is more red and blue stitching. These are comfortable heated seats. Those are heated back seats. These are also ventilated seats if you want that, which I do. It also has Super Cruise, so if you want a little bit of self-driving action, basically only on highways, it will also do that. It's got the HUD in front of me. This is a well-equipped $100,000 car. And then there's also a whole bunch of Google with the software. So I find myself actually really liking it. When you log in, so you go home, all this stuff you can log in with your Google account and have Google Assistant stuff where you ask it to call your contacts. You ask it to turn up and down. Here, actually do it. Turn down the temperature.
All right, turning down the temperature.
It is very responsive and very quick, and if you're logged in, it can actually call your contacts and navigate to places from your history and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's cool. And it's got the screen behind as well. I found this pretty responsive. You can log in, grab apps from the Play Store like Spotify, your podcast app, pair your phone, Waze. It's all here. So this is good. Also, there's this volume button, which is kind of Mach-E-esque, and then there's a button on top to mute. And then all of the HVAC controls are physical controls. So you can just reach down here and just grab and change the temperature real quick. So if you don't feel like asking Google, you can just do this, and then they're desynced and you can sync them back up if you want. This is good too. So I felt like the interior is a nice place to be. I have a Cybertruck. I realize that these trucks are always huge, but this just feels like I'm in a house right now. I'm in like a massive space, the climate controlled room with like a glass sunroof and comfortable seats. Like this is a good spot. This is a good place to be. I would say driving the Silverado EV is also relaxing in a way where it is maybe the least athletic of the full-size electric pickup trucks. Like you have the Cybertruck, which has like 800 something horsepower. You have the Rivian, which goes up to 1,000 now. Like they all have these sprint modes and these sport modes. This doesn't really do the sporty thing. I think that's a direct trade-off with the 400 plus miles of range you're gonna get out of this. And maybe that's a downside. Maybe you don't care. I think a lot of people buying a pickup truck honestly don't care. So getting that ease of mind of a 475 mile range, and word on the street is it might be even more with the 2025 models, I think that's worth it to a lot of people. And it's got the aesthetic, it's got the light bar, it's got the front trunk, it's got peak EV. I'm impressed. I think this is shot right up to the top of my list of best full-size EV pickup trucks. I mean, the competition right now is the Hummer, the F-150 Lightning, and I guess you could say the Cybertruck is a full-size electric pickup truck. And this is the one with the most range and the most comfort, I will say. Very nice. Well done, Chevy. Well done, Silverado team, for actually shipping the thing. And I hope to see more of these on the road. It's good. All right. Glad I got to check it out. Thanks for watching. Now you've seen iPhone 16 Pro footage as well. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.